yellow zones, gray zones.
My name is Wyatt Skansen, and for any of you who have lived in the Muskegon area for over 41 years, this film may be of interest to you. You all remember the Great Lumbertown Music Festival. Well, there was such a festival like that called the Aquapades, and this happens to be a film of the Aquapades of 1950. You may remember some familiar faces. But first, let's go to a short interview with the sound man that worked on this particular film by the name of Richard Hammer. Got a hold of this film and
Yeah.
1950 Aquapades,
Right.
and I've reassembled it, and the color is perfect.
Good. I know it had good color. When we ran it a couple of weeks ago at Exchange Club, I was amazed how good the color was
Yeah,
on a film
yeah.
that old.
I noticed in the last shot at the Chronicle Cup race, another cameraman shot one of the many cameramen that was making
Could have
the
been.
film. Were you involved in strictly the sound?
I did the sound recording on most of that stuff, yeah.
Okay. And how difficult was it? I mean, you seem to have...
It was real easy. We used an old disc recorder, a 33 1/3 RPM disc recorder that ran from inside out.
Okay. That means from the label to the edge of the record,
Yeah.
if anybody
And
doesn't
then
know.
later we put it on tape.
Okay,
In 1950, we didn't have too much tape equipment.
right.
Yeah.
And tape had just come out in 1949.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand that Bing Crosby had backed
He
Ampex.
did.
Was it Ampex?
He did. He backed Ampex. Right.
Okay. And Ampex was the first magnetic tape recording company.
In this country.
In this
yes.
country, yeah.
The Germans came out with it during World War II.
Well, the Germans came out with a lot of
They
stuff.
did a lot of
You
things.
know.
Yes.
There was a Chronicle Cup race. Who sang that song, the Aquapades? There
Oh
was a
dear.
female. Do you remember it all?
I don't remember exactly who sang the song. It might have been one of the girls on the Miss Muskegon contest pageant.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. It might have been then somebody performing on stage.
I think it was somebody performing on the stage
he
in the
just
Miss
used-
Muskegon contest. See, back in those days, JC's sponsored the Miss Muskegon contest as part of the Miss Michigan.
But how much of excess film did you shoot on this particular type of
There's
film?
probably a little bit of excess film that was shot, but most of it was used by Doane Productions, then Don Doane, in preparing the film. He didn't shoot too much that he didn't use.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
Well, being, what, were they kind of low budget, this type
Extremely low budget film.
of film?
But
No.
Doane Productions was in the commercial 16 millimeter color sound film business at that point in history, and they used the Aquapades film as a seed film for other films and did real well making other films as a result of that film.
Okay, so they would take the Aquapades film and show it to interested
I
companies.
think one company was Seal Power Corporation at that time, but he made
Okay.
a commercial film for 'em as a result of the Aquapades film.
Okay, and more or less like a 16 millimeter resume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, it's a very nice resume. He also did work for Dow Chemical.
Dow Chemical. Interesting thing was that at the end of that program, we had a big storm that moved in off from Lake Michigan, and we had bleachers set up down there in the sand. And the waves came in and washed all the boards out from the bleachers, and we had to take the bleachers down to save the boards. Now, the JCs did a lot of things in those days that we review the things once in a while that the JCs have done over the years, and the JCs were responsible for doing lots of things in Muskegon, including the Aquapage program, which is the forerunner of the greater, well, now it's a Lumbertown, the Great Lumbertown Music Festival.
Okay,
And that's another program.
I could not believe the color of the water, and what made that boat sink? There was a boat that sank on Mona Lake.
Oh, we had some other boats that sank. That was a speedboat that hit a wave and turned over.
Oh, that's it?
Is that the one you're talking about?
Probably.
We
It was
had
on the
lots of
water.
boats sink out in Pier Marquette Bark, but that's a different story.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But I think the one you mentioned hit a wave and turned over and was rounding a corner at Mona Lake, one of the speedboats.
A turtle derby staged at Phillips Field in Muskegon Heights with a Muskegon Progressive Businessmen Nation actively cooperating. And there they go! Team speedsters are really burning up the track. 3,000 people were on hand to witness over 200 entries, each one sponsored and with its own trainer. A racer by the name of Zipper, with a record time of 39 seconds, won the grand finale. And here he is, proud and happy, waiting to receive his traditional horseshoe of roses. Shot, former Miss America, the headline festival held Hackley Stadium in Muskegon. Another outstanding portion of the program was the picking of Miss Greater Muskegon. Here in the talent division, you see some outstanding performers, each one an artist in her own right. Each contestant was allowed 3 minutes to display her own particular talent. As the judges total up their scoring of the talent division, the Notorials, an outstanding quartet, members of the Muskegon Barbershoppers, carried on with a few of their favorite renditions. The bathing suit division, also a part of the Miss America specifications, under which this contest was conducted, requires the girls to display their beauty of face and figure. Minnesota, playing on her vibraharp. This instrument was built especially for her and is the one she used in the talent division at Atlantic City. And now Miss Betty Newald, outgoing queen of the Aquapades, crowns the new Miss Greater Muskegon, Miss Lynn Lucas.
The authorities vested by me crowned Miss Lynn Lucas, Miss Greater Muskegon in 1950.
Here you'll see the chairman of the Queen's Contest presenting awards which included a $250 cash scholarship and a wardrobe valued at $400. And here the happy queen is surrounded by the members of her court. And now watch the Aquamades relaxing at Pier Marquette Park on the shores of Lake Michigan. Pier Marquette Park is only one of the many beautiful parks located on the shores of Lake Michigan and western Michigan. Scenes similar to these may be seen any sunny day on the beaches of the numerous parks that can be found within a few miles of downtown Muskegon. The Aquapades Commission met regularly, starting early in February, at planning sessions with members of all the cooperating organizations. Virtually every JC participated sometime, somewhere, during the Aquapades program, with almost 35 of them serving as chairman of events sponsored by the Junior Chamber or as key coordinators with other cooperating organizations. First water event of the Aquapades was the annual Queen's Cup race, the oldest yachting race on the Great Lakes. Annually from Milwaukee to a western Michigan port, many of the finest boats on Lake Michigan enter to compete for the famed Queen's Cup, the oldest racing cup in existence today. The first Muskegon boat to enter the mouth of Muskegon's famous harbor, the finish line of this race, is this auxiliary cruiser. These sailors are happy to haul their sails down after an all-night cruise and use their auxiliary motor to take them to the Muskegon Yacht Club Basin. Here you see two Q-boats from the Milwaukee fleet, the first of their members to cross the finish line. This happy sailor is dancing a little jig for you. Here you see another Q-boat from the Milwaukee fleet entering Muskegon Lake. Here you see the Coast Guard cutter the Sundew, standing by anchored in Lake Michigan. They reported no yacht casualties, but there were a few seasick sailors. This Q-boat with a spinnaker flying is taking full benefit of the high winds off of Lake Michigan as it approaches the mouth of the channel. And now we head back through the channel to the Muskegon Yacht Club Basin. The Muskegon Yacht Club is the organization that conducted all of the sailing events of the Aquapades. The yachtsmen, after docking, are taking full advantage of the lawn of Muskegon Yacht Club to dry their sails. And this is the dock. This seaplane from Milwaukee annually patrols the race. The Muskegon Yacht Club is now gaily decorated for the annual Commodore's race. This is the judges' stand where the Queen is prepared to fire the starting gun. The contestants in this race are maneuvering for the best possible position to cross the starting line after the gun. All the sailing races in the area are judged on the handicap basis, so all boats, large and small, have an equal chance of winning one of the many trophies and prizes. Here you'll see a National One in the foreground passing a comet. And now this Thistle is rounding the Bank Point light on the first leg of the race. As this E-boat returns on the second leg of the race, notice the background for an impressive profile of Muskegon's industries. Here another of the E-boats returns on the second leg of the race. Here an E-boat is going to the left, passing a Lightning still in the first leg of the race, going to the right. This E-boat, with its jib and mainsail billowing, is beating into the wind. And here is the Milwaukee Clipper, a luxury liner flying daily between Milwaukee and Muskegon, carrying many tourists and much freight. This E-boat is making 6 to 7 knots at this point. And here again is the Thistle, returning on the second leg of the race. And now once again we return to the basin of the Muskegon Yacht Club. And here at Mona Lake, thrilling speedboat races were sponsored by the Mona Lake Boating Club. These J.C. chairmen are going over final details of the many activities of the festival. Motors of these boats really churn up the waters of Mona Lake as they roar around the corner buoys. Hundreds of spectators lined the shore, taking advantage of every possible viewpoint to see these speedy boats as they tear around the course. Our queens are fascinated by this exciting event. These ladies, members of the Muskegon Women's Club, graciously chaperone the Aquapades during the entire festival. This boat, overturned as it rounded a corner, is out for the day. This is an unusual contest, the annual Mayor's Boat Race, matching the 4 mayors of the greater Muskegon area in a daring display of skill and nerve. The race over, we enter the breakwater area of Pier Marquette Park. That's the Coast Guard cutter Woodbine in the background. And here they are, the stars of the Macatawa Bay Water Ski Club of Holland, Michigan. The water is cold and rough, and they don't seem too anxious to get wet. But here we start out with a group skiing event. You are watching Charles Slide Jr. on a skitterboard. He's the man who taught all these experts how to do it. This is Dick Slide cracking the whip on a single ski going about 60 miles per hour. Liz Sharp in white and Barbara Koenig in blue are pulled out of the water as the boat gains speed. Notice Liz holding one ski in her hand and holding the bar with her foot for a difficult trick. And here is Charles Slide Jr., granddaddy of all water skiers. Now Dick Sly is attempting to make a complete 360-degree turn at 45 miles per hour on 2 skis. The water's just too rough. Here Lloyd Nyland and Charles Sly III are carrying little Lorianne Hole, hanging by her knees on a bar carried on their shoulders. And now Lorianne rides piggyback on Lloyd's shoulders. Watch them as they sink into the water as they lose speed. And now Liz Sharp, former national champion, executes a particularly difficult trick in the choppy waters, a backward swan. And here she drops off in front of the barge, and the show is over. Here are the Tony Colbecks and their cruiser, the Tolojo, one of scores of yachts in the Muskegon area. You are looking at a section of the vast crowd watching the varied events of the Water Carnival. These two JCs are testing sound equipment just prior to the start of the water ski show. This E-boat, one of the entries in the Aquapades Cup race, is speeding along as if it were jet-propelled. And now we enter Bay Mills at Muskegon Dune State Park, where the Muskegon Conservation Club is sponsoring a sportsman's roundup. Events range from canoe tilting, archery contests, racing, bait casting, and other sporting events. These boys will tell you that half the trick of tilting is maintaining balance on the bow of the canoes. And over he goes! Notice the elated winner of this contest. And this is Hilding Carlson of Muskegon, state president of the Michigan Conservation Clubs. This spirited canoe race was a hotly contested event. These two deputies were on hand to supervise traffic. And now we leave the Bay Mills area as the activities come to a close. And here the winner is presented the traditional paddle by the Queen, while his opponents and the rest of the Aquamades look on. And here is the happy champion, Mayor Ernest Charmer of North Muskegon. Here we are again at the Muskegon Yacht Club for the final race of the festival. Racing officials of the Muskegon Yacht Club, along with these JCs, are inspecting trophies and prizes for the various sailing events. The annual Chronicle Cup race, one of the biggest sailing events of the year, is the big event of the day. While the numerous boats are maneuvering for position, let's meet our queens. Here is Miss Shirley Johnson, 18 years old, from Muskegon. And this is Miss Beverly Vargo from Muskegon Heights. She is 21 years old. Miss Dorothy Ann Mills, also a Muskegon girl, is 18 years old. Miss Mary Lou Gibson of Muskegon is also 18. And our lovely queen, Miss Lynn Lucas, is from Muskegon Heights. She is also 21. You are watching one of the many cameramen and photographers who covered all of the activities of the Aquapades. And there's the starting gun, and the boats are off to a beautiful start.
At the Aquapades, won't you join me at the gay parade for the one girl that I wanted you by the fireworks bright on Venetian night. We can dance by singing bands of white by Lake Michigan's waters of blue. A sailboat race will set the pace for water skiing, swimming. When the Queen rides by, you catch every eye, accepting for two, looking fondly at you. Outdoor serenade, water escapade, at the gay Muskegon Aquapades, we'll be thrilling at being with you.
As the sun sinks beyond the waters of Lake Michigan, spectators are already gathering to witness the Venetian Night Parade, co-sponsored by the Coast Guard Auxiliary. More than 30 gaily decorated boats participated in this striking spectacle. And here is the grand prize winner of the parade, its superstructure brilliantly lighted with a multitude of tiny bulbs. This display of fireworks, shot from the south arm of the breakwater, brings a vivid finale to this outstanding festival. The Jaycees contend that any city, with its organizations working together, can develop a similar celebration. In the same manner as the Aquapades features water sports, other cities could use such a festival to spotlight their own community asset, whether it be industrial, agricultural, or scenic. The Junior Chamber of Commerce invites you to be in Greater Muskegon for another colorful and exciting Aquapades Festival.